Okay. Wow, I am live again. Yes, I am knowingly live again. And oh no! It's only a little bit left. Look! Oh man. Well, so much for good old Virginia whiskey. It was good while it lasted, which was I think 5 minutes. So, ladies and gentlemen, yes, today we are going to be diving into the dark and scary world of the you're afraid of horror films, slasher films, this film, those who want to enjoy this gazing into the darkness of this universe will grab some popcorn, grab some coke, grab some whiskey. Let's get it on! So, ladies and gentlemen, yes, we are going to be talking about the eighth house. What does the eighth house means in astrology? What does it stand for? What are some of the additional things that it stands for that you may not heard of? And what's some of the things, what are the biggest conception that the eighth house does not stand for? So that's something that we're going to be discussing. Now, I'm sorry I put the camera this time this way because I don't like looking up. Because my monitor's up this high, my necks get tired, man. So I'm just like I put it on a tripod here. Um, oh, yes. Guess what this is? I found this in the dungeon of the darkness of the eighth house. This is my precious. This is something that my wife got. It's called sea salt. And she said, keep this turned on because it's very good for the air, for the breathing, and I don't know, taking out negative energies or something, but it's more like for the respiratory and the breathing thing because of the allergy season. So I'm like, all right, looks pretty mystical and nice. Why not? So let's see if it works. So yes, eighth house, baby, eighth house. So what is eighth house in astrology? Eighth house, first of all, represents death and rebirth. Okay? Eighth house represents the recycling of the human soul. Eighth house represents transformation. What do I mean by transformation? Let's say you have this cigar, okay? And guess what? It's almost empty. The cigar box is almost empty. And no, I did not smoke them. You know what? I'm not into cigars. I just did it because my wife got it for me for some reason, because I did it in Vegas once. But I gave all the cigars to her professor who came for dinner. I'm like, look, you eat, you drink and you drink all the good scotches and all the cigars. So here, take more than half of mine. I don't even need them. So that's where they went. Um, so you take this cigar, okay, and let's say this cigar suddenly turns into this empty glass. So what happened? You had this cigar, and I did some magic, hocus pocus, and it turned into this glass. See that magic trick? This is known as transformation. One thing turning completely into something else. So what does that mean? Well, that means, let's say, for example, I get so many times a lawyer wanting to go into astrology, an IT professional wanting to transform their life to an actor or an actress. Or you have somebody who has been living like a monk for 10 years and they're like, you know what? I want to have a family. I want to have kids. And then, what can I do to sustain myself? And I know I can't do anything by being a monk. So these are transformation. Any kind of like like sudden upside down transformation is the eighth house. So that's eighth house. Eighth house represents other people's money, other people's assets, or anything that you get through someone's death. And what is the main thing that you get through someone's death? Inheritance through your parents. That is the eighth house. Insurance. Somebody dies, you get money. Wills and estate. Somebody left a state. And after they're gone, you are dealing with that. You're trying to get that state. And eighth house, believe it or not, it also represents death. Oh, I'm sorry, not death. I mean debt. Debt as in not D-E-A-T-H, D-E-B-T. Debt. Why? Because you are taking someone else's money for yourself. So what happens when you take someone else's money? Most of the time, it's a money given after death, but it's also money that can be given to you. In relation to that, let's say you're 18 years old, your parents pass away, both of them at the same time. Have no clue what to do, where to go. And you borrow money from friends and family, and even though they say not to pay us, yet you feel like you're obligated to pay that money to them because look, they helped you out when someone passed away in your family. So a debt is also seen from the eighth house. Eighth house represents scandals, sexual scandals. Anything that has to do with sex, anything that has to do with secrecy, secret societies, conspiracy, hidden things, hidden knowledge, that those scandals are the eighth house. Because all scandals, in a way, actually is eighth house because you do something which is hidden from the world and then it's exposed. That's eighth house. And obviously, eighth house is me. Occult, mysticism, sorcery, and tantra, astrology. Any mystical science comes through the eighth house. Enlightenment, Kundalini awakening, especially Kundalini awakening is the eighth house, not the 12th house. Why? Because Kundalini is rising from your Muladhara chakra, from the base of your spine, where your anus is, and that is the eighth house. It's rising from there to the top of the head. So where does the Kundalini start from? Starts from the eighth house. That's why the sexual energy is very strongly connected to Kundalini. This is why they usually say, I have no idea who said this, I've just heard it redundantly, is that one should not have sex if you want to have your Kundalini awakened. One should not masturbate, especially men, if you want to have your Kundalini awakened. Why? Because you want to recycle that energy, the life force, the prana, which is the sperm, back into your system. So it builds up. You know, like when you don't have good times for some time, you start to get agitated, like, oh my God, you're like begging your wife and you're doing the dishes and you're cleaning the home to impress her. That once that energy is going, you keep it doing it, you keep it bothering, you let it bother you for a while, and then it settles down. And that's when the process of Kundalini awakens. That is one of the process, and then you have to do meditations or yogas to do those things. Because that's why they say there's something in the finger posture too, like this is like the downward energy. You know, this is, I think, upward energy. There's something like this. There's something like this, and these are like downwards something. So the way you meditate, which finger you hold while you're activating your Kundalini. So if you're holding your posture like this in meditation, that is actually activating something in your body and mind and spirit, versus if you do it this way or do it this way, because you want to recycle that energy back into the body. Same thing with the sperm; it needs to be recycled, the prana, to get the energy going. It's like light needs energy. And once energy is so much, it becomes light. So that's what the Kundalini process is. You need to become light. And obviously, eighth house represents our own dark, deep, hidden secrets that deep we don't want to tell people. Everybody has some sort of a dark secret that they don't want to tell people. And that is known as the psychological issues that within us. So when you look at a psychologist, psychiatrist, clinical psychologist, that's the eighth house. What is their job? Their job is to know your deepest hidden mess and to bring it out and present it to you in a way where it kind of heals you. And it's so funny, yesterday, I went to DC to have dinner with my wife. She was coming back from the school. And then I'm like, she's like, calls me, hey, you want to meet for dinner? I'm like, yeah, let's meet for dinner. And my wife is completely opposite of me. I'm the type of guy that I don't want to make any more friends than what I have. And I have like barely one friend, two friends. One is living in, both of them are California. One is trying to move here. That's it. And then I have some acquaintances, astrologer friends, but I'm a very opposite person. I don't want to make friends. My wife is completely opposite. She goes somewhere, she'll make 20 friends. So by the time I came from my home to DC, actually at Trump Tower, um, she had met a bunch of people talking about God knows what. And apparently she told them about me and what I do. And so by the time I'm walking into the lobby and up to the bar, and they're like, oh, hey, oh my God, he's here. Come on down, come on down. So I'm like, what in the world is going on? I don't know, nobody here. And then they're like, oh my God, your spouse wife has been talking to us about you, what you do. This is amazing. I'm like, oh my God, I'm trying to like get away from astrology and have some drinks. And now I have to talk about that. So then they're like, oh, show us her chart. Show us her. Can you tell us something? I really want to know. I'm so into astrology. So I looked at the chart of these two lovely ladies, and one of them said some things. I'm like, you have a tendency to spy. Do you have a tendency to do this? You have a tendency to do that. And then I talked about, did your father elope with somebody else? I said, does this and this happens? I looked at this other girl's chart. I'm like, she's like, I want to know about my spouse. I'm like, you know what? Your spouse is going to be a prolific writer. He's going to have some injury to the knee while you are with him. So while you're with him, he's going to have some issue with the knee happen. And I said, he loves collecting gold. He loves politics and all that. And she was just looking at me with jaws dropped. Because this person loves this person who was an athlete, injured his knee, and now they're a writer for some, newspaper or magazine. And they're doing very well. And he loves collecting gold. And I also saw Saturn in the seventh house. And I'm like, does this guy has a beard? And I said, was he born on either May or November? Like his birthday? They were just stunned. And the woman I was telling her about her father, she cried twice right in front of us on the table. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I don't know what I did. But she's like, no, you healed me. You just healed me. I have barely ever talked about anybody about these things. And yet within 5 minutes, you just completely changed me and I was seeing a therapist for 10 years. And that's the eighth house issue. Yesterday, I dealt with the eighth house issue within less than 5 minutes. All I had to do was just look at two things. I saw her moon, her sun, her ascendant. I saw the Padha, the nakshatra was in, and I saw some things, and I'm like, did this happen? It's like, oh. Then we got into our counseling. Why did it happen? So in a way, that eighth house energy, was like felt last night. But it tells you, once you know astrology, you don't need to go to like a psychology and psychiatry school. It is like astrology shows you right there in 5 minutes what the issue was. But of course, psychiatrists and psychologists have far more other qualifications that sometimes astrology can fail, meaning the astrologer might fail. They may not be able to help the person, but the psychologist, psychiatrist might. But the thing is, astrology just quickly sees it. That's eighth house, psychology, psychological issues within us. Something that is trapped. What is psychological issue? Something which is trapped here in the solar plex chakra that is affecting your health, your mind, and everything. Like this person that whose chart I saw, blind chart, didn't know this person. My wife just made friends with her, and looking at her chart, I'm like, she's like, I never let anybody close to me in a relationship because I'm afraid what you just told me about this, this, and this, that it was gonna happen, and I was gonna act this way. Like, no, you're not gonna act this way because this is how it's happening, and this is gonna change in this time. Because in the cell phone, I saw the dasha they're running through and all that. So it does help a person, you know. So it's all about eighth house matter, which is occult. Occult is what can give you the solution. Then, what else does the eighth house represent? Eighth house represents scandals, mistress, debts, health issues, obstacles, and enemies of your younger sibling. It represents educational interest. It represents the lineage. It represents the type of children your mother will have, meaning eighth house represents you as well. It shows who you are, what type of a psychological agenda and the makeup are you. That's also the eighth house. So yes, it is representing the mother's child. It represents the educational interest of the mother, educational level of the mother. Eighth house represents the mother of your own children, the happiness of your children. How much happiness your children will have, where they will get the happiness, how they will get it, is the eighth house. What type of a dwelling your children will have, that's the eighth house. But especially this type of a eighth house should be looked from a female's chart. A female's eighth house will really tell about the children's dwelling in the fourth house. And it also shows the type of vehicles your children will have. It shows what type of fixed assets your children will get in their life. Will they collect silver? Will they collect gold, gold coins? Will they collect like baseball cards? Will they collect books or something? You know, will they collect wristwatches? Whatever it is can be seen from there. Then, eighth house represents dissolving of your enemies, death of your enemies. Eighth house represents the way your enemy will always communicate with you, how they will communicate with you. Will they be so upfront with you, or will they be like discreet and hiding under the veil? Will they be working behind the scenes? It represents what type of efforts you're going to have to put in to pay your debts off. So let's say you have a debt. Where can you put the effort, your energy to pay that debt off? Do you have to go into real estate and sell real estate? Do you have to sell your gold coins or something, your gold collection? Do you have to sell your car to pay your debts off? It'll show you the type of avenue you should take to clear your debt. Then, a eighth house actually represents longevity. And this is the biggest misconception in astrology. People think that eighth house is death. That, oh my God, eighth house is becoming activated. I'm going to die. Oh no, what's happening? Please help me. What gemstones can I wear? What remedy can I do? But people don't realize that the 7th house is more dangerous than the 8th house. 7th house is the real marka. 7th and 2nd house are real markas, not the 8th house. 8th house is the last one. Actually, I would say 7, 2, 3, and then 8. Why? Because 8 is second from the 7th house. It is the gain of the 7th house. If 7th house is death, it is the gain of death, meaning the gain of longevity to prolong that death. So 8th house actually represents the gain of your longevity. How much is your longevity? But if your 7th house is damaged, that 8th longevity then is in trouble. So I don't know why people get scared of the 8th house. They should be more worried about the 7th house. 8th house also represents your in-laws, your spouse's family, your spouse's income, your spouse's wealth, the way your spouse will speak, the speech of the spouse. It'll represent the possessions, the jewelry of the spouse. 8th house will represent the feet of your father. 8th house will represent the type of places your father will pass away in, die in, or leave this world in. 8th house represents spiritual beliefs of your father. 8th house is actually your father's paternal grandmother, meaning I guess your great grandmother, right? Is that what it is? Grandmother. My grandfather. Yeah, I guess that's what it is. The great grandmother from the paternal side is seen from the 8th house. 8th house is death of your religious beliefs. And I shouldn't say death, I should say loss of your religious beliefs. Sometimes when people start like 8th house Mahadashas, 8th house Antradasha, 8th house Charadasha, sign of the 8th house Yogini Dasha. Oh man, Yash, come on, bro. Oh, he just farted. Oh man. Oh, dude. Yashi, swear to God, bro. Oh, oh. Oh my God, and I've got like 2 dogs here, so I don't know which one it is. And a cat. Oh Lord. So, it represents the loss of your religious beliefs. So anytime like the 8th house period starts, a person tends to lose their religion, meaning they don't want to believe in religion anymore. They don't want to go to the temple. Ugh. Oh man, dude, Yashi, move, man. Oh. 8th house. Oh my God. Yeah, it is that bad. Hold on, let me open the window, man. Oh. I mean, he never does this. It's like he's relaxed. But because of me talking about the 8th house, like, come on, man. Gotta smoke a cigar in here or something. Oh, like 8th house is also sewer. That's something else I forgot. I think, thank you, Yash. You just reminded me what 8th house represents. It represents sewer. And actually it does. All the sewer lines in the beneath your house, anywhere, is the 8th house. So yes, thank you. You're a great astrologer, yeah. He's the observational astrologer. He shows you practically. See, he's a teacher for me now. That was a great thing that he just taught. That is the sewer. And 8th house is anus. Without anus, we wouldn't have a sewer. 8th house represents taxes. The taxes we pay is the 8th house, is the gain of the government. What is the gain of the government? Where does the government will gain money from? From us, working hard and then paying massive taxes. And then 8th house also represents the elder sibling of your bosses. Anytime you go to any company, I don't care if you change job 10 times, whoever is your boss, their elder sibling Well, you will always run into the similar type of patterns where their elder sibling will be of the quality of your eighth house. It represents the desires of your bosses too, your hopes, wishes, desires of the boss. Eighth house also represents the reputation of your elder sibling. What is the image of the elder sibling out in the world? What do people think of them? Do people think positively, negatively? Is seen from the eighth house. And it also may represent their profession too. Like what type of a work environment the elder sibling wants to be in. So let's say if you have Mars in the eighth house, your elder sibling will probably want to be like a police officer, want to be an athlete or an engineer. You got Saturn in the eighth house, your sibling probably wants to be in mechanical engineering, government servant, or maybe in criminal activities, depending upon how your Saturn is. Ketu can represent spiritual careers, siblings. Jupiter can represent educational and, mystical occultic careers for your elder sibling. Then, eighth house also represents the religious beliefs of your paternal grandmother. Eighth house represents the father of your grandmother, like your paternal grandmother. Eighth house represents moksha, enlightenment, leaving the body, leaving like this plane, and like leaving for some completely different new place is the eighth house. So this is the eighth house. Eighth house also represents ghosts. Like all our fears that we have is the eighth house. So what do we have most of the time? What kind of fear do we have? We have a fear of walking into a dark place, like some dark abandoned house, and wanting to spend a night there. Can't do it. Why? Because your eighth house, the solar plex chakra, comes alive. Your Muladhara chakra of fear comes alive, and you start seeing things. You're like, even if it's like a cockroach, you'll think it's a ghost. So eighth house also represents those paranormal experiences. And people who have like instances of near-death experience, like death and rebirth, will have some connection to the eighth house, maybe perhaps with the nakshatra of Bharani or Magha. So this is the understanding of the eighth house in astrology. And I mean, eighth house can really be happening to anything. So let's say if your younger sibling, okay, if your younger sibling ever got sick, ever had a fever, went to a hospital, or younger sibling is dealing with some big enemies that you're aware of, you will see that your sewer lines will be stuck. Your drains will be clogged. And you may suddenly get interest in astrology and occult and mysticism. Because your younger sibling got sick, you will have sudden interest in astrology and occult. So this is how the eighth house can, like, especially let's say if Saturn, Saturn or Rahu transits your eighth house, it'll trigger for your younger sibling to have to focusing towards their health, to deal with some health issue. And at the same time, it'll clog in your sewer system. Especially if Saturn is in a good position, you will focus to it'll make you fix your sewer system, or your sewer system will just be in very good shape at that time. But if it's like, let's say, in a bad condition, bad dignity, you will have sewer line just like it'll feel like my office, pretty much. So that what eighth house is. Okay. So let's see what's happening here. Foreigners is also eighth house. Foreigners is also 8th house. Yes, that is quite true. That is true because 7th house is foreign lands. Okay, so 7th house is foreign lands. 8th house is second from the 7th house, meaning the gain of the 7th house. So what do you gain through the foreign lands? It's people, it's possession, it's assets. You go work in foreign lands, pretty much 8th house, because you're gaining through the 7th house of foreign places. So yeah, but mainly the foreign lands houses are really the 7th house, 9th house, 12th house. Those are really the houses of foreign places. And even the first house is foreign lands because it's the Bhavat Bhavam of the 7th house. Okay. So if you wanted to see, like if Saturn is transiting your 8th house, if Sun is transiting your 8th house, Sun transit in the 8th house actually always brings interest in astrology. Those people who are not even astrology will somehow try to look for their monthly horoscope on Yahoo or MSN or something. Because Sun is light. Sun is Jyotish, Ishwar. With having light, light is what God is, and Jyotish is what? Light of God. So whenever Sun comes into the 8th house, Sun in the 8th house, will always have a person interested in astrology and occult and mysticism. Now, let's say, for example, you have debilitated Sun in the 8th house. Then you will pretty much run into the wrong direction through astrology. There could be like that misguidance through astrology. You may learn certain things some other wrong way. So you have to just look at the dignity of the, and then especially the nakshatra will matter more than anything else. Okay. And but again, if you want to know what your 8th house is like, all the other astrological details for that, check out the links in the description. astrologycares.com. Otherwise, yesterday actually, for the first time in my existence on YouTube or any other platform, yesterday was the first time I ever gave an interview. And I gave the interview to my main man, Yogi Cameron, for his documentary. I believe it's a documentary or something he's doing of people around the world in the whole spiritual, mystical, occultic community. So I gave my interview. I was so nervous because I'm like, I don't know what he can ask me. What if I don't know the answer? And the moment he started, I didn't even realize it was like past 1 hour. He's like, oh my God, we can keep going. I'm like, yeah, I can go on for an hour. I wasn't even done. I wanted to just keep talking. But yeah, he got my interview. So it's going to come next year somewhere. I don't know if it's going to be part of his documentary on a TV, on online or wherever. But, I'll let you guys know wherever that comes out. Yeah. So anyway, guys, yes, I am. I am doing readings at astrologycares.com. I know I had them off last week because the thing is I'm going to be traveling to Sedona. So I'm like, I don't want to be doing any work there. But yeah, they're back on. Um, um, what else? So yes, it's time to go. I guess it's 11:30, guys. It's almost midnight. Midnight. I'm about to go to bed, and I'm like, oh, let me do the 8th house video because I haven't done this video in like what 2 weeks. So I guess next week we'll tackle the 9th house. So yeah, we'll tackle 9th house. Okay. See you later. Bye bye.